Hi, I'm Don Moores and welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. The League of Women Voters of Montgomery County and Montgomery Community Media, where we are right now, are working together to present debates and forums that feature candidates running in the upcoming primary races. Elaine Apter from the League is here to tell us about all of these debates and forums and these candidates and what they're talking about so that more people can be prepared for the June 24th primary with information that's going to help them at the polls. The Mental Health First Aid is a national program to prepare people in the community to address the issues of mentally ill individuals who need help. Jasmine Berry from the Mental Health Association of Montgomery County has recently taken the course. She's here to tell us all about it. Homeschooling for high school students is a thriving, though not very known, program for Montgomery County teenagers. One of those students is here, Marko Rivera-Oven. He's finished his junior year this year. He's going to report on homeschooling to us. The Department of Transportation of the Montgomery County government has put out a pedestrian safety campaign in Spanish. And according to some, they missed the mark with the message. Graciela Rivera-Oven, the moderator of Revista Semanal Montgomery, is here to report. She's one of the people who thinks they missed the mark by a lot. Elaine, it's great to have you back.
Hi, it's great to be back. It's election time.
It is. I have to thank you. I participated in these debates that you had with the county council first and third and fifth candidates. What a professional job the League of Women Voters and Montgomery Community Media put into this. It was just absolutely wonderful.
Yes, we're very proud of it, and it's our way of getting the message out along with Vote 411 and the Voter's Guide. But the forums are different in a way because the candidates have to be on their toes and answer thinking on their feet, and that really makes it very interesting. The other is you get head-to-head. In other words, and it was good to see in these forums that some candidates did disagree with others, and so you got the picture side by side of where these candidates stood.
Now, traditionally, these off presidential year election years, very difficult to get folks enthused about them, voters. Though, watching these candidates, a lot of very thoughtful individuals. How do we get more people interested?
Right, it's an excellent field, and I think MCM and the media is really helping by not only having the debates with the League of Women Voters, but televising and re-televising them. Some of them are streaming.
Well, speak about streaming. There's a website, I believe, where people can go.
Right, and I think it's up.
It's
MCM. Yeah.
mymcmedia.org, I believe. Yeah.
Right.
Good.
And so we hope, and that will be a link from our website, League of Women Voters, and other places. So they should be able to get access to this. And usually the gubernatorial primaries are not as well received, shall we say, or turnout is not as good as it is in the presidential.
Right, and we also have the change of the time that has been changed to June with the primaries. So you have people who are waiting as soon as their kids are done with an extended 2 days of school to get on that plane. So this is going to be a very low turnout, I think, primary. And I think June 3rd is the last day that you can actually...
That you can register. But the one thing, again, is, and that's where the media is helping also, is get an absentee ballot. Do early voting.
Right, which starts in June 12th.
And if you don't know the candidates, you can get to the media and listen to some of these debates and forums, or read the Voter's Guide and see where these candidates stand.
So for the folks who cannot make it to those debates and so on, do you guys have it on your website where you can go
Yes, there's a link, and as we said,
just mentioned here.
we just mentioned it. Yes, and so we encourage you because you really get to know the candidates a lot more and what their positions are, and there are differences, and it's important. But the main thing that we want to say is, no matter who you vote for, get out and vote. Because these are the people that are going to be running your education.
Now let's review this also. We got the education and other things. We got also the state legislature as well in Annapolis.
Right.
So we got Annapolis and Rockville, plus all the congressional candidates.
And your U.S. congressional
courthouse,
candidates.
governor. I mean, there's
Attorney General.
Office.
Right. There are an awful lot of offices that are up for election, and so really look. The sample ballots have gone out. If you're registered, you should have received your sample ballot.
Give us a reason why young people should care.
Oh, because it's their future. Where Montgomery County goes and the state goes now will affect them. Because like transportation, you're talking 10 years, 15 years. The younger people are the ones that are going to start using this transportation, especially as traffic gets worse. The environment. I mean, the children, the grandchildren, those are the people that are going to be living in the environment. But the decisions have to be made today.
And if they don't vote, they don't participate, do they?
They don't participate. And then if they dislike something, then they can't complain.
So how do we get registered to vote in Maryland? I'm registered to vote in D.C. Is there a website I would go to? Or?
It's the Maryland State Board of Elections.
Okay. You just go on the website.
And you can go on the website and you can
make
fill
the changes.
it out. You can make the changes.
Okay.
It's very easy. So you can get an absentee ballot application right on the website.
But make sure you do that before June 3rd.
Right.
By June 3rd.
That's good to know.
Yes.
If you want to vote in the primaries.
And there's also motor voter. We've really tried to work as hard as we can in this county, in the state, to try to make this as
yes,
available
we
as
are.
possible.
I'm very proud of Maryland. We're one of the progressive states as far as we've increased the number of early voting sites. So just get out and vote.
That's a great way to end this segment. Thank you, Elaine.
Sure.
So get out and vote. And one of the issues that these elected officials are going to be talking about is mental health issues.
Right.
Tell us a bit about this first aid.
Mental health first aid, it's a nationally recognized curriculum. It's an 8-hour course, and it teaches people in our community to recognize some of the signs and symptoms that people going through a mental health crisis may face. And most importantly, it gives them some steps to take once they recognize some of those signs and symptoms.
So this is for people, I mean, obviously a psychologist or psychiatrist, a licensed clinical social worker, others would have these. So who's your target audience?
Our target audience is parents, teachers, just people in the community to recognize those signs and symptoms in their family members. Like I've taken the course before, as you mentioned. I took it in the fall. And it's helped me recognize some of the signs and symptoms in some of my friends who may be going through depression issues and things like that.
Now, there's a phone number if people want to learn more about this program and maybe how they can participate.
Yes, at Mental Health Association of Montgomery County, we actually schedule mental health first aid trainings in the community, and we can schedule private trainings.
What's that
phone
number?
That phone number is 301-424-0656, and I'm the person that they would want to speak with, Jasmine.
I would think this would be a great course for those who have summer programs with teens or middle schoolers to take, or anybody who is a youth minister or youth counselor at the different churches, and just because usually they're the ones who establish a trustful relationship with these teens. Usually, the parents are usually the last to find out what's going on, but usually it's an adult in a trusting position, like.
Exactly, and we do have two different sets of curriculum. There's an adult curriculum and there's a youth curriculum. So the youth curriculum would be ideal for that. It teaches trusted adults, like I said, teachers, parents, counselors, maybe youth pastors to learn some of those signs and symptoms that they may see in teens. It's for middle school students and high school students.
Let me ask you something. What did you learn yourself? You said you recognize now in your friends, your colleagues, depression and other things that maybe you wouldn't have recognized before. What are some of those signs that that you can help us understand?
Some of those signs, I'm not a clinician, so it can vary by person, but some of those signs in depression, you may notice like a loss of appetite or loss of interest in activities that people normally would like to do. Those are some of the things that I noticed in some people that I'm close with.
Now,
I think the most important thing that I did learn in taking that course was we did a few exercises that kind of allowed you to put yourself in the place of someone who's mentally ill,
Right.
like maybe someone who's schizophrenic. So it did kind of make me a little bit more aware of what they're going through and reduce some of that stigma that some of us hold.
So how long is the program for? Like how
It's
long?
an 8-hour course.
Oh,
So
okay.
usually it can be in one day, but sometimes people break it up over 2 days, so you can do 2 4-hour sessions.
And then you go to, like, if a church calls and say we would like our staff to be trained, you go to them.
Exactly, right. We
Is there
work coordinated training.
Is there a
It could be-
cost to it, or?
There is a cost. We have received some money, some funding to do some free trainings in the community, but generally the cost is $150 per person, and it doesn't include a manual that you can take home to refresh yourself on the course once it's over.
Elaine?
Yeah, this would also help just with individuals, even the idea of mental illness and they're panicking, and just to be able to get the course and just see what that person would be going through or
Right.
what some of the symptoms would be. You would probably have a more positive attitude.
Right, exactly. I think it definitely does create a more positive attitude towards mentally ill people. A lot of times I'm sure people are afraid just because they don't know or understand what they may be going through. So I think this course is definitely useful in helping to understand mentally ill in our
Miss,
community.
your friends, you noticed they were depressed, lost their appetite, not interested in things that they were previously interested in. How then do you get them to face the fact that they might be depressed? 'Cause
Well, you'll learn some of that if you take the course. I don't want to spoil anyone who is interested in taking the course, but there are numbers to call. There are resources that we connect people with to
In the community.
in the community, exactly, to get that person the help that they need.
All right. What are you going to do to get the word out? I mean, certainly you're here today. What else are you doing to get the word out
get
so that
the
more
word
people will be
out?
participating?
Well, I think we're going to try to reach out to more groups specifically. We actually are pretty good about getting people in the community to come to us. I've gotten a lot of requests lately for mental health first aid courses, but I think maybe we'll try to build some more partnerships. Like, we would like to get more of the curriculum in the faith-based
Sure.
community, so maybe we can go out to more churches and actively ask them if they're interested in taking the course.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Mental health first aid, maybe something we all should be taking.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll be right back after these messages. Marko Rivera-Oven, what a distinguished last name you have. I think you are related to the next guest.
Yes.
But you're a student, and the first time you're on the show, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for
Welcome
having me.
aboard.
Thank you.
You're soon to be 17, I believe.
Yes,
You're
2 days. Yeah.
2 days. Happy birthday from all of us.
Thank you.
And anybody out there in the viewing audience who wants to send you a happy birthday present, please, we invite you to do it. You left your high school
Yes.
and to be homeschooled, but not a homeschool I've ever thought about. I thought homeschool was something where you just went home and mom made
Right.
you read some books and you bake cookies the rest of the day.
Yeah. So when I tell people I'm homeschooled, they're like, "Oh, so your mom teaches you," which is the most basic common sense. People think that's homeschooling, but I actually attend a co-op. It's called the Shady Grove Academy in King Farm, and this woman has 40
Lady.
kids come to her house, and she brings in Montgomery College professors that teach AP and honors classes. So they're all AP and honors classes. It's twice a week. So I'm there all day, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So it's like it's really like a college campus.
It's more like a college,
Right.
kind of schedule, because I also have classes on Monday and Wednesday just in the morning, and then I have the rest of the day off, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I basically like a college schedule, which is good for me because this is a whole new experience than my other high school, which was every day, 8 to 3.
Typical high school
Typical
experience.
high school for Montgomery County.
For you, why make the move?
I made it because I felt like I wasn't, the teachers weren't teaching me at my past high school. I didn't feel like I was being taught as well. Challenged, yes. So when I made the move to homeschooling, people, kind of criticized me or was like, oh, it sounds like you're just going to take a year off, or, when, I sort of had that impression going into this, but it was the complete opposite. It was probably the most challenging year for my high school career, just for the 4 years so far. And I'm going to be a rising senior, and I'm going to go back to it, but this was probably the hardest year because she does this schedule where she gives homework, and it's AP and honors, so it's hard, but every day she gives you homework. So, at the beginning of the year, I put it off till Monday night, and I had a whole week of homework to do. And, it started stressing me out. I was like, oh, so this is, serious. This is not just what I thought it would be, online classes, just breezing through junior year. It's the complete opposite. So she challenges you, which is good, because it made me become a better student and made me more self-disciplined myself.
How did you find out about the school?
I found out about it. I have all my friends that are homeschooled, so all my close friends are homeschooled, and I know them through church or just through friends of friends, So most of the people that I used to hang out with were homeschooled. So when it was like, I think I'm going to be homeschooled next year, they're like, oh, you should come to the Shady Grove Academy, So I looked into it, my mom and my dad went to go visit it, to talk to the people, and, my mom was like, this doesn't seem like a homeschool kind of thing, but in the end, it was I think the best move, and I think my family was very happy how it turned out.
So why do you think that other students should go to that school?
I think other students, if they don't like their high school or if they're having trouble with their education, I think they should go to the Shady Grove Academy or just another one in Montgomery County, because there's 5, but Shady Grove Academy is the number 1 in Montgomery County. They should, because the Shady Grove Academy, you get a good relationship with the teacher. It's a smaller environment, so you get more one-on-one time. And if students learn that way, then they're going to get a great education out of it. Not only are you taking AP and honors classes, but you also get that relationship with the teacher, which is crucial in the high school. So, like I was saying, I take a class, physics, and there's 8 people in that class. It's one of my smaller classes. And I was struggling at the beginning, and the teacher.
We have about a minute left.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. Keep going.
Yeah. So, and I was struggling, and she kind of took me under her wing, and I had 30 minutes with her back and forth, and then I ended up with an A in the class at the end of the year. So that's
Is there an application process? I mean, do you have to apply?
You have to apply. You have to apply to it, and it was all new for us. But one of the things I want to say is not many people realize that Montgomery County is home to one of the largest homeschool communities in the country.
Right.
And it's this whole community that had no idea that existed. So it was a learning experience for our family and for Marko. And not every kid learns the same way. So I have a kid who graduated from a Catholic high school from Holy Cross. I have a 6th grader who's in public school, and then Marko.
Yes. Marko, congratulations on a successful year. We're going to move on to the next segment. But again, happy birthday.
great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Get those presents coming in early.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Graciela Rivera-Oven. So Gracie, what's going on with this transportation?
Well, I was asked to comment on it. So we know that pedestrian safety is a big issue in our community.
For many years.
For many years. This is not something new. We know we had many incidents on the rise of pedestrian fatalities. And
what was that thing? Ride, drive safely, walk smoothly, or whatever
something.
it was?
Yeah,
Right,
it was something like that. But so I think it's an important issue for our government to focus on. And to get involved in educating our community as a whole. So the Department of Transportation, there's a division there that they do public safety, pedestrian safety awareness, and they came up by looking at the statistics and so on that they needed to do a Spanish campaign for pedestrian safety, which is a great idea, and I applaud that idea. So I don't want to.
The overwhelming number, if I remember correctly, reading the newspapers, of pedestrian injuries
Right.
and pedestrian deaths have come from the Latino community.
Mainly, right, or
Almost
in the
entirely, yeah.
and in the Denton County area, which makes sense because there's so many people taking public transportation.
Wheaton, Silver Spring,
Long Branch,
Tacoma
Piney
Park,
Branch, University
Langley Park.
Boulevard. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think I applaud the idea. I think it's great that the way they went about it. I think it's going to be a lesson learned for the county as well as for other counties. Hopefully, it's there are issues that you need to take in a way seriously, and they wanted to have this telenovela soap opera approach to this issue, and they decided that
What's it, for those of us who don't, or for those folks in the reading, what's a telenovela?
well, telenovela, like I said, is a soap opera, right? And so the Latino, community, they create a lot of soap operas in Mexico. In fact, they're all over the world, translated into so many languages, from Chinese to, to Russian. It's a popular way of entertainment, and it's like soap operas here in the U.S. It's just bigger and more glamorous and more dramatic. So they decided, they consulted with a company in Texas that it would be a good idea to do a comic strip with a telenovela twist. So here's the problem. When you start trying to send a message as serious as pedestrian safety and so on, with a stereotype tag on it, not a good idea. Just not a good idea at all, because you're missing the mark. We have so many families who bury their loved ones because they get hit and so on, and we have so many families who have to take care of their loved ones because they're quadriplegic or because they left to be hurt for the rest of their lives. It's one of those issues that you need to actually consult the community. You have the Latin American Advisory Group, you have the Latino Health Steering Committee, you have so many other agencies, you have the Latino Public Safety Group that gets together with the Chief of Police and so on. So you have all these resources, and not to use those resources to get feedback to see if this was the right approach, I think was a big boo-boo.
So did the communications consultants in Texas, did they do any type of research in order to see if this would resonate with?
I think it's
the
one of those
Latino
things
community?
that, the comic strip thing, came out with voter registration, which, it has actually, I think it will work for voter registration. So it has its place. I'm not saying that it's, taboo and you shouldn't do it. It has its place, but there's a reason why we call it comic strips, and the word comic really should be a red flag for anybody who's trying to do any kind of campaign on a serious note. Infant mortality, you would not do a comic strip. You just wouldn't do it. It's just not appropriate. So when you have actually the resources here in Montgomery County, is the home to one of the largest Latino communities, and you have agencies who actually do this for the State Department and so on, I think it's wise to kind of use those resources that you have at home. So, and plus the cost to the taxpayer as well. I mean, you have to pay, it was about $50,000. So just even the characters that they used, the
How
name.
is it distributed?
We've got about 30 seconds left.
okay.
It was
Keep
distributed.
going.
I think it's on the ride on buses and so on.
Okay, so
But it's just,
out
with the name, the stereotypical name, thing, Maria, and just,
So if somebody else was upset by this comic strip, what can they do to, try to?
I think they need to let the Department of Transportation and the county know that this is maybe not the best idea, and that hopefully, I think when you do pedestrian safety, you need to look. I would like to see the county do a national inspection of all the crosswalk lights, because there's a lot of them, especially in the Long Branch area, that do not function properly. I would rather see the money's going into something like that.
Well, I think that's the last word.
Okay, sorry.
And hopefully the money will follow your wishes, Chrissy. Thank you for that.
Thanks for
and
having
thank all
me.
of you for
Thank
joining
you.
me today. Again, happy birthday. And thank all of you in the viewing audience for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Don Moores. Please join us again next week at this very same time.
You try.